What is up, guys? Welcome back to Take It to the House. My name is Zach. I'm joined with Thatcher and Elijah for the second week in a row. For once, it's all three of us again, which is nice because we could spend more time together. But it is Christmas week, Christmas Eve. Hope you guys are having a happy holiday and a great break. Topics we're going to go over today are the Buffalo Bills are red hot right now. The Eagles are more on a cold streak. And we'll talk a little bit about Brandon Staley as he was fired last Friday because of the loss to the Raiders. So we will talk about that a little bit just because it's less relevant, but then we're probably gonna build off of that. So how are you guys? What's up? What's new?
Arsenal are top of the table,
Dubs.
so that's good.
Elijah.
Doing all right. The Browns can clinch a playoff spot this week, so it's a
Yeah,
possibility.
we'll go over that too for sure.
Yeah,
So so the Buffalo Bills. Uh they completely demolished the Cowboys, 31 to 10.
three.
Was it really three?
I don't
No, the
think
Cowboys got one.
who scored the touchdown for the Cowboys?
I don't know, but I remember
Probably
seeing it
CD.
before, and I went, "Wow, they got one."
Wow.
Yeah, it was 31-10. Who scored the Cowboys? It was who did get it? Well,
I think it
because
was CD.
but it says that he didn't have a. Hang on, I'll find
Uh,
it.
yeah, find it. But Buffalo is still in the hunt for playoffs. They are trying to clinch probably in the next few weeks, hopefully. Kind of depends how everything else kind of plays out. But I'm going to pull up Buffalo's schedule for the rest of the 2 weeks. So, yeah, they beat the Chiefs last week or 2 weeks ago, and then they just beat the Cowboys 31 to 10. The answer to that, yeah, it was CD. He had a 3-yard run. So, but before that, they lost to the Eagles in OT, but they handily beat the Jets, and then they lost to the Broncos before that. But they got the Chargers still, they got the Patriots, and then the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are probably the biggest game, as that's gonna be the last week of the season
Yeah,
as
because that's
well.
gonna be for the division at that point too, probably because the
Hmm.
Dolphins have the Cowboys this week,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which I think my money would 1000% be on the Cowboys because if you get beat that bad, you're gonna bounce back.
yeah, exactly.
Like any team that gets humiliated like that always bounces back.
I
Yeah.
like how we went over the Eagles one week, and then the oh shoot, the Cowboys, and now we're
And then
going
the
over
Cowboys
the
lost.
and then the Cowboys
And
lost,
then
and
we'll go
now
over the Bills, and the Bills will lose.
yep.
And then the Eagles will win this week.
Who are
But
the Philly playing?
oh, probably somebody not. No, they have a Philly's got a. I think they should win out though. Um, they have. I got you. They have the Giants this weekend, or no, they have Giants on Christmas
Mm,
in Philly, and then Cardinals in Philly, and then they go to the Giants. So they should win out.
Yeah.
but I remember last year
So
when the Giants beat the Eagles, like the
yeah.
last week, yeah.
Um,
But then again, that was Danny Dimes.
the
Sorry.
Saints beat the Saints beat the Eagles last year. Is who you're talking about? Actually, the last week the Saints beat the Eagles. I was in California when that happened.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You are right.
But no, with the Bills, like it's pretty crazy to. I mean, I thought that even with the firing of um Dorsey, right?
Hmm.
I
Mhm.
thought they would still struggle because I think the problem is Sean McDermott, but they've looked pretty good. And I think what helped them so much this week was their run game. The fact that they could actually run the football and not have to rely on Josh Allen. Like I think Josh Allen didn't even have like 100 yards passing. Like I
No,
think,
he had 95 yards.
yeah. So like I think that might be the recipe for success is if you don't have to rely on Josh Allen to be Superman every game. Because if you keep doing that over and over again, we've shown that it just can't, it won't work. So I don't know. I think it's fair to be high on the Bills, but cautiously high because like they're the Bills, and we have said this over and over again, but like they tend to disappoint, and I will never believe that they're a big team to be taken seriously until they at least make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. And like this last few years have been kind of rough for the Buffalo Bills because they lost in divisional last year. They lost in the AFC Championship the year before that, and they lost in the wild card, I believe, the year before that. So it's kind of ride or die for McDermott right now, as they've made playoffs, but nothing has come out of it, is the other
Yeah,
thing
I mean,
too.
I think if they don't even make it to the AFC Championship, and depending on how they lose in whatever game, I think that McDermott probably should go,
Hmm.
just because you have seen a pattern of being able to win in the regular season and make your team look really good, and then when it really matters, you can't win.
Yeah.
So I just feel like his time is probably up if they can't make it to an AFC Championship or a Super Bowl.
Mm,
But I don't know. The way they're playing right now, who knows? They could totally do it. They just
that's
have to
true.
keep it that way.
The other thing too is that Buffalo has so many weapons, with Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. You got
Dawson Knox isn't
is he
playing.
still is he still on the 21-day period?
Pretty sure he's still
Yeah.
injured.
Okay. But you still got Diggs, you got Gabriel, and there's one more I'm missing. James Cook. It's another one. So they have many weapons. I just don't think McDermott I think McDermott's trying to utilize all of them at once versus like, yeah. That's all I can really say about that. But if the Bills play as they've been playing the last 2 weeks, minus the offside call or whatever from Kansas City games, they're going to be playoff potential, which I think could happen. So, but any last thoughts on the Bills?
Well, Elijah hasn't given any thoughts on the
Yeah,
Bills, so
that's
we
true.
need to hear it.
Well, I just think that the only reason the Bills were successful this week is because they used a game plan that they've never used before. They barely used their running backs,
Hmm.
and
Right.
so they caught the Cowboys by surprise, obviously. But now that they've shown their card, the opponents they face the rest of the way, just they if you rely on Josh Allen to win you a game, you're not going to win a game. And
Right.
then and so you can just force that because they shut him down. They shut
Yeah.
down the passing game, which opened up the run game. But that's mainly because you don't expect the run game from the Bills. But now that they know how the Bills will attack the run game, it's just an easy fix. And I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
you
the
really
hype
think that
is
you're gonna be able to ride James Conner? I mean,
exactly.
James Cook to the playoffs? Like that's
You're not gonna be able to do that. And he hasn't and there's a reason for that. He hasn't been talked about all season long. It's just been this one week. That was a breakout week,
right.
so I don't know. I think it's a little it's the thing that happens every year. One week we're like, oh my gosh, the Bills are Super Bowl
Right.
contenders, and then it gets back to reality. So I
No,
don't
I
think
agree.
I didn't put too much yeah.
The only way I put with it is how badly they beat the Cowboys. Not that they beat the Cowboys, but it's like, whoa. But I think that almost says more about Dallas than it
I
does
was
about
gonna say
Buffalo.
that says more about Dallas
And I
Hmm.
think it
for
says more
sure.
about Dak because Dak on the road and without a like coming from behind is a completely different quarterback than at home with a
Yep.
lead.
Mm-hmm.
And his stats back that up. Like he's thrown, I think it's like 8 TDs, 5 picks on the road compared to like 20 TDs, 2 picks at home. And it's
Right.
like that can't happen, especially because let's be honest, if the Eagles win out, the Eagles will win that division. And
Right.
so, and who's to say the Cowboys win the next week? I mean, I think that they probably have a really good game this week against the Dolphins just because of the manner in which they lost. But
Right.
like, who's to say that they don't lose and then the Eagles win out and then you really want Dak to go on the road?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I also think that loss, I mean, the Eagles' loss and the Cowboys' loss proves that the NFC is the 49ers division, hands down. Like, I don't see anyone even remotely competing with them on the road to the Super Bowl. I don't see it.
no, no, for sure. And I think, but I mean, what I was going to say about Dallas too is like, I think that they could go to Tampa and lose. I
Right.
think that
Oh,
they could
yeah.
go to Detroit and lose. Like, I think that they could go to some of these lower seed teams and lose.
Hmm.
And so it's like if you're Dallas, like that loss stings that much more, especially after the Seahawks beat the Eagles, it sucks that much more because you could have taken advantage of an opportunity to then take the division lead. And
Right.
now, like, you basically have to win out and rely on the Eagles to drop a game or two.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I just don't think that's going to happen. And I think the Eagles, I mean, we'll talk about them in just a minute, but I think the Eagles will bounce back. And I think having to go to Philly is hard.
Right. Oh,
Like, they
yeah.
have an insane home atmosphere. And, you know, I makes me think that if you can't beat teams that you should beat on the road, you're not going to be able to do it in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I will
Especially,
say the Lions, I could see being the one team that shock everybody because
Yeah.
they're just dominant no matter who they play. It's kind
they're
of crazy.
dominant at home, though. I think
Yeah.
we have to be wary of them going on the road.
I mean, yeah, they
But
lost to
if they can win their
Chicago.
right, if they can win their division and, you know,
Chicago's not someone to scoff at though. Their defense is crazy.
yeah, but and the
I
manner in which they lost to Chicago was bad.
I just think that Goff is not a bad weather quarterback.
Yeah. That's
And
why he's so good in Detroit,
exactly.
is because it's at home.
Yep.
Right.
But I also think that spells for uh, a good playoff play because most if let's say they face the 49ers in the NFC Championship, they're gonna
It's not that
be
cold.
they're gonna be in California, so
Right.
he's gonna be in fine weather. You know.
Yeah. I agree. I think the Lions could definitely. I mean, I thought the Lions make me nervous because they're pretty like hot cold,
Right.
but when they're hot, oh
When they're
man.
hot, it's hard to
I
stop
mean,
them.
Zach witnessed that full firsthand on Saturday. Like, it's just they're so dominant, and the weapons that they have. I
Hmm.
mean, Gibbs and Montgomery together are a killer combo. Then you got
Laporta,
Porta, you got Amon-Ra, who's one of the best receivers in the league at this point. You got Reynolds, you got Jamison Williams. Like, they have so many weapons.
and you have a good line.
Oh my gosh! And then you
Yeah, and
got
their defensive
Hutch.
line.
Yeah, I mean, they have good pieces. I think as long as they win their division and they can play at least maybe two games in home games in the playoffs, then they're good.
Right.
Yep. I
If you have
agree.
to go somewhere for the NFC Championship game, so what? You're gonna have to prove it if you really want to make it that far, anyways.
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
the Lions do have kind of a tough schedule. I mean, maybe the Vikings. It depends who's starting, I guess, for
well, what's their
quarterback.
Well,
schedule?
But
we
so,
know that it's going to be Mullins for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so they got the Vikings this week on Christmas Eve, and then
in
they have the
Minnesota
Cow
or in Detroit.
in Minnesota. And then they have Dallas, but they're in Dallas. So that's two away games.
Okay,
Indoor stadiums, though, both.
yeah,
Yeah. And then they're at home against Minnesota.
I think they should beat Minnesota twice, and I think they'll give Dallas a hell of a game.
Yeah, they will.
Agreed.
Because I mean, all indoor games at that point. Goff does not have to go outside.
And that's a great gauntlet going into the playoffs because division games are never easy. And then you're
No.
facing a top team in the NFC. That's a solid test for them.
Hmm.
Right. And I think even if you go 2-1 and lose to the Cowboys, you'll win your division and you
Yeah.
should still be in a good spot in the playoffs. And then at that point, you'll probably, if you have to play the Cowboys again, you'll probably play them in Detroit rather
Right.
than going back to Dallas.
And
So,
again, either way, indoor stadium. So
right.
Exactly.
Right. I think the Lions are definitely they're the sneaky team, but they're also like they need to show me that they can be consistently good because it's like they had that dip there for a while where I'm like, ugh.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just like,
Um, I want to go back to Buffalo real quick. I have a question for you guys. For those of you who don't know, Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills, is the Madden cover athlete this year. There's this thing called the Madden curse. It's kind of hard to explain a little bit, but basically it's like a curse where the player does bad or they're not having the greatest season or something else happens like an injury or Antonio Brown type stuff. But do we think that the Madden curse has affected Josh Allen in some ways? Because they are 8-6 right now. But
No.
I think this question is kind of hard to answer right now just because playoffs
I
hasn't
think it's
happened yet.
I think
So
it's really easy to answer for me right now.
I want to hear your answer.
No, it hasn't affected him at all.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
honest. I don't think the Madden curse has affected anybody.
I
CTE
think if
has
Ken
affected
Dorsey
people.
were on the cover, then I mean maybe we could be talking about something different. But I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I don't know.
the only one that really I think was bad was Antonio Brown. That one
I think
was,
Antonio Brown
and
just got
OBJ
CTE.
too.
I think
Peyton
But
Antonio Brown
Hills
just got
too.
CTE.
yeah, I mean I don't know, but no, I don't know, not at all.
Uh, I don't think so. I know. I never really believed in Madden curse
Me
because you
neither.
have people like Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald on the cover, and they're both going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Breeze
Yeah,
too is in that same
Breeze.
timeline
Yeah,
too.
Breeze was in the same
So it's like
timeline. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of just coincidental from time to time. Like the 1 year Brady was on it. I don't. They what happened that year? Something happened.
Yeah, but I mean like
It's
going
just
with your point, I don't ever feel like it's like a curse unless it's like Allen were to have torn his ACL or something. But
yeah.
like if he just has a mediocre season, that would not make me think like, oh, he's cursed.
Right.
Just makes me think, oh my gosh, he's on the Bills.
Now, if Deshaun Watson was on the
If
cover,
Deshaun Watson were on the cover,
that'd have
yes.
been, yeah, that would
Yeah,
have been up.
or like Joe Burrow
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Rodgers
Then
or
you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? But,
yeah.
you know,
I think
Well,
another
and
big
then the year
one.
where they
Sorry,
put
go ahead.
Brady and Mahomes on the cover, I was like, oh, okay. So you basically are just covering all your bases here. One will do
it's
good.
One of them will do good, but two?
I
Two's a
think
lot. Well, I mean, they did the same thing with Paul Mahler and Fitzgerald, as Elijah mentioned too. So I don't know.
Zach's camera froze for me, by the way. Just want to let you know.
Oh,
So,
Damn it.
my Zoom is like glitching like crazy right now.
Here, we'll do this real quick. I think another one that was affected by this curse was Peyton Hills from 13. No, it was 12, excuse me, 12. Because 13 was 25. So that was another one. But all right, moving on to the Eagles. The Eagles have been on a cold streak. They have lost three straight to the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks last night. I'm wearing my Drew Lock jersey because why not? But Drew Lock threw a game-winning touchdown to Smith and Jigba, and that was actually a crazy, crazy throw by Block. That was a really great throw. I watched the highlights because I was working yesterday. But what do we think about the Eagles right now, guys?
Elijah, you go
Um,
first.
I think the Eagles have been found out. I think when you rely on Hurts to be your running back and your quarterback, that is not a feasible
Hmm.
game plan.
Almost like they're a version of a team that we already have talked about. Weird how that works.
Yeah.
Almost like a team in the AFC.
Do
They have
they?
like blue and red
Yeah.
colors, I think.
Yeah.
Weird how that works.
Do they? Is it something like Buffalo Wings or something like that
Yeah,
around
and like
there?
their quarterback was like from Wyoming. Like he went to
Yeah.
Wyoming
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
for college.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and they have
Yeah.
crazy fans too.
Yeah.
They break
Wow.
tables, guys. They
They
break
break
tables.
So
they break
we've
tables
just
and do
found out the
mustard
Eagles are
baths.
the Bills. Whoa.
Whoa.
The
Identity
Bills of
crisis.
the Bills of the NFC.
No, sorry, but keep going.
No, but for real though, I think when you have an electric and game-changing running back as DeAndre Swift, and he proved that earlier in the season when they actually used him right and were winning, and then you revert to basing your entire game plan around Jalen Hurts running the ball, passing the ball, doing the stupid, idiotic tush push that everyone has found out now.
They still
That
can't stop it though. Let's be real.
well, you can't stop. They can't stop it because their line is so good, but other teams try it and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I think just the point is Jalen Hurts is not someone that you want to run your whole game plan through. And it's obvious because AJ Brown is mad, Devontae Smith is mad, and I'm sure Swift. What's
Yeah,
his first name?
Swift.
What's his first name?
Andre.
DeAndre. Yeah, I'm sure he's mad too because he's taking away touchdowns. He's taking away carries. It's just Sirianni is a great coach, and I'm never going to take that away from him unless he absolutely poops the bed. But I think he's a great coach who has instilled a good culture. I just think that the shift in play calling and offensive focus for the team is not, well, obviously it's not proving good for them.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. And it's kind of like why I brought up the Bills is like what made the Bills look so good this last weekend is they didn't have to rely on Josh
Right.
Allen. Josh Allen made some good plays, but they didn't have to rely on him. And I think the success of any Super Bowl winning team, they always have a good quarterback, but it's not just the quarterback. Like when
Right.
Patrick Mahomes was at his best, who did he have on his team? Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could literally throw a 30-yard pass that Tyreek would turn into a 60-yard touchdown.
Right.
Like, and you're looking at it's the same thing with, what a lot of people are calling MVP candidate for like Brock Purdy.
Mm.
Yeah, he's playing well, but who is he throwing to? He's throwing to Debo and Ayuk and
And who's in the
Kittle. He's got
backfield?
McCaffrey and
Right.
he's got, and right now, like with Hurts, I think rather than rely on him to be the guy, call up plays where he can get the ball to other guys. Because you
Yeah, I
have a
mean,
Heisman winning wide receiver, which is like you can barely even say about anybody.
Right.
You have AJ Brown, who's a monster,
Mm-hmm.
and you have DeAndre Swift and Gainwell's also a really good back.
Yep.
Like you got pieces there, and rather than be like Jalen, go win it for us all the time, every play. And okay, I also know that Hurts was sick. Like he had to travel separately from the whole team the day before because he was so sick
Right.
that he was trying to get better.
Right.
So it's like now some of his decision making last night was so
When you
like
think
there was
about it,
like that
he's
one play where
sick.
he chucked it up, he literally had Gainwell on a check down that would have got him like 10, 15 yards, and he just chucked it up. I'm like, dude,
what was
just
that the
take the
last play
simple.
of the game?
I think even on the interception in the end zone, I think that
Oh yeah.
like he had now that was PI by the way, that one in the end zone. Just would like to say that, but
Yeah, I saw that. It
I
was a
just think
PA.
the funny thing is you mentioned he's sick. That's even more of a reason not to run the entire game through.
right, right,
You
yeah, for
know?
sure. That's what I was trying to say is like
Yeah.
you have a quarterback who's not 100%, and you're still gonna just be like, all right, Chief, it's on you. And it's like I think the last thing you brought up a really good point about Swift too, because using Swift would have been able to slow the game down and chill it out
Right.
because Seattle is one of the hardest places to play
Mm-hmm.
on a primetime game. Their fans are loud, crazy, passionate. That stadium is rocking. And the best thing you can do for yourself is slow the game down and calm the crowd down.
Right.
So, I wouldn't have had a problem if they would have pulled like a Michigan against Penn State, right? Where they like ran it like 14 times in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
Like just run the ball because he can do it for you. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to have some designed like read options for Hertz to go do that, great. But I think what happens is like I want to pull up the exact stats, but like if you're making Hertz throw all game, it's just like that's not what you want.
Right.
No.
Hertz threw 31 passes for 143 and two picks, and then 13 carries for 82 yards, two
Your
touchdowns.
quarterback should never have 13 carries ever.
13 carries and 31 pass attempts. Like that's just and Swift had 18 rushing attempts. So he only had five more rushing attempts than Jalen Hurts.
No, it's not good.
Yeah. I saw a meme. I saw a meme on Twitter today, and it was the Eagles playbook, and it was just four plays, two read options, one hitch, and there was another one.
Probably a Hail Mary based on their last night. It's
Yeah,
like
it was Hail
four
Mary.
words.
It was Hail Mary. I thought it was pretty funny, but I definitely agree with the play calling and I know Hurts was sick. I mean, Mahomes was sick back in week 9 when Denver broke a 15 losing streak against the Chiefs, which I understand the sickness part because I played by being sick as well. It's hard. Running is hard. So, but yeah, I think the Eagles need to get better with play calling. You guys hit the money with like Swift
Oh,
and
and
getting,
Matt Patricia,
yeah,
what?
Matt
That
Patricia.
last drive was so bad.
Hmm.
Like Bradbury got burned four times.
Yeah, because they were
Why are
running
you
cover
running man
zero.
coverage on JSN and DK Metcalf every play?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
It was cover zero from like the 40-yard line. That's more of a red zone defense.
It was literally man defense every single fucking play.
Mhm.
There's a bleep for you, sorry, but like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just like brain dead.
Yeah.
Patricia has not been the best coach ever since he left New England to go coach Detroit and then come back
Well, and I
to New
think that
England.
says more about him. I think it
Hmm.
shows that New England was really that defense was more the successful piece than him running that defense.
Exactly.
Right.
It just, oh man, it just now. All this being said, I think the Eagles will be fine. To be
Yeah, I think
honest,
so too.
I think they'll win out and they'll be able to host a playoff game against one of the lower seed teams like the Rams or well, hopefully not the. Wait, no, yeah, like the Rams or something like that. Beat them and then have another game.
Hmm.
Um, Now the Niners run the NFC, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, it's like I think there's only two teams in the AFC that could beat the top five teams in the or sorry, other way around. Two teams in the NFC that could beat the top five teams in the AFC.
Do you think it's Dallas and Philly or I mean
Detroit,
Dallas and San Fran or
Detroit and
San
San
Fran
Fran.
and
I think
who in San
Detroit,
Fran? Sorry,
Detroit and
Detroit.
San Fran.
Detroit.
Yeah,
I think the Eagles too, just because they already beat the Chiefs once.
but the Chiefs aren't even good this year,
But I'm telling you, if they get a home field advantage,
right?
their home field in the playoffs, I
Is
mean,
different, right?
and like let's be real, we don't like the glazing for Mahomes, but he's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like he will find a way to get his stuff together.
You know what's kind of crazy though?
Hang on. We're
The
going on a field trip, everybody.
Let's go on a field trip.
Okay,
The
sorry, crazy.
um Jaguars, they were in what were they? I think they played three straight games against AFC North teams or something to that effect. And they went from what are they? Were they 8-3?
You're so bad right now.
They're they're
They
eight they're eight
they're
and
eight and
seven right
six.
now.
They're 8-7 now. So their record went. They added like three losses to their record just by playing the AFC North.
Hmm.
Like it's insane how crazy the
But
AFC North
most of
is.
them were in the AFC North. Like they weren't in Jacksonville, but yeah.
Right, but Jacksonville has no sort of home field
Oh, they
advantage.
looked so bad the other night. Holy cow.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, I think realistically there are only probably 5 teams that could win the Super Bowl total.
who do you have?
I would say I'd say Kansas City still. They still can. Um Baltimore, San Francisco, maybe more than 5. Let's see. Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City. I think Philadelphia still could. They just got to figure it out. I think Dallas still could. And then I'd put like probably Detroit as like a wild card guess. But I think the rest is pretty like you were just saying. I don't think that some of these teams could go to a big team in the playoffs and win.
Right. If you had to pick right now, if you guys had to pick right now your Super Bowl matchup, what is your Super Bowl matchup?
We're about to see it on Monday.
I don't know the Monday night game.
Ravens Niners.
Ravens Niners. Ooh. You think that's the Super Bowl matchup?
I think so.
I think that's most realistic right now, just because I think Baltimore is playing really, really well. Lamar's got his thing going. That defense is insane right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that if it can run through Baltimore rather than run through Kansas City, I think Baltimore's got a really good shot to make it there. And then I think out of the NFC, I think the Cowboys could. I think the Eagles could. I think the Lions could, but do I think they will? No.
Mm.
I think San Francisco, when they're fully healthy, is just they're on a different level than the rest of the league when they're fully healthy.
Yeah, I'll
What
say
about you,
that.
Zach? What were you going to say the same thing as me?
Hmm. I was also thinking maybe Dolphins and Lions. I don't know, just to throw that out there. But
Dolphins and Lions.
that's kind of
I mean,
my
that'd
wild
be a
card.
fire Super Bowl, but
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna
Elijah, what do
happen.
you think though?
I'm gonna go with the Super Bowl matchup everyone wants to see is the Lions and the Browns. That's the Super Bowl matchup everyone wants to see.
Okay, so who do you think is gonna make the Super Bowl though?
Lions and the Browns. No, I think I'd probably say realistically the Niners and I don't know. I don't playoff Lamar is never good, and we've seen that. I'd say realistically, it's probably going to be the Niners and the Dolphins.
Okay,
That's what I would say.
okay.
Because if the Dolphins are healthy, their defense is incredible. But if their offense is clicking, then it's really hard to stop them.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like they didn't have Tyreek last week. And look
Right,
how they did. They had no problem.
right, exactly.
So,
So I don't know.
I mean, the Jets are trash though, so that doesn't take
The
much.
Jets have a good defense, though. I'm not going to take that away from them.
yeah,
Jets do have a
Yeah,
good defense.
but like okay, I'll go off of your question then. You said who do you think is gonna be Super Bowl? Who would you want to be the Super Bowl? Realistically though. Like it can't be like I want the Giants and like give me a realistic Super Bowl.
I already said who I want: Lions and the Browns.
Yeah, but do you realistically think the Browns could make the Super Bowl?
They're both in the playoffs. If they're both can be in the playoffs, so anything can happen from there.
Zach?
I'm gonna say Lions, and somehow the Jaguars get in there. Lions and Jaguars. That would be a cool Super Bowl to
I'll go
watch too.
Lions. Dolphins would be what I want to see. I
Yeah.
think that'd be so fun. I think too, because that Super Bowl would be like 67-64. Like that would be an insanely high scoring Super Bowl, I think.
I
Super
think
Bowl. I
so.
don't know. When was the last time we had like a really high scoring Super Bowl? Like a
Well,
super.
last year was pretty high scoring.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Mm,
Zach remembers there was one that was pretty high scoring. It just only went one way.
yeah, Tampa and KC, and then there was also Seattle and Denver.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. And then I
Wasn't
mean
the Niners Ravens one a pretty high scoring
it
one?
was 35-28, I believe, or 28-21.
Like
But
that's what I think. Like for a Super Bowl, I would consider like 35 a high score.
yeah.
I mean, last year was 38-35.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is really high
Because
scoring.
Harrison Butker kicked the game-winning field goal, and Eagles couldn't convert a Hail Mary because Jalen's arm strength was not.
Speaking of Hail Mary, did you see how
Here
the
we go.
did you see that?
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney, bro.
Darnell Mooney
Get him off the team.
Bro, if that was DJ Moore and he caught that, I would have been so happy.
for fantasy purposes?
Hmm.
I just think that um I mean, I know we're getting towards the end. I think that game seriously solidified that just Justin Fields is not it. I'm sorry.
What? Bro, you did not watch the full game.
Bro, homie went like 45% passing completion and was
Here's a,
like,
if okay, let's put
wait, no, hang on 1 second. Sorry. They also only had a field goal all second half.
against arguably the best defense in the NFL.
Still, if you're that guy, you got to be giving me at least a touchdown
You,
in the
you, I-
second half.
you can't be telling me that if you put Tua on the on or Dak on the Bears, they're not doing better than Justin Fields. I'm not going to believe
I
it because
I think 1000% Dak and Tua could do better on
their
the
wide
Bears.
receivers are absolutely awful.
I don't think that
DJ
his
Moore is
weapons.
not awful.
I don't think his weapons are that bad.
But outside of DJ Moore, what
I mean, I
weapons
think
are
Cole
Mooney
Kmet.
Mooney generally has been good. He just had that drop. Mooney's
Mooney's
generally been good. Komet's a decent tight end. Now his running game is the problem, I think, because I don't think he has decent running backs.
No.
But when your defense is getting takeaways for you, and then you can't do anything with the ball. Okay, I'll answer this for you. Caleb Williams would do more with that roster than Justin Fields would. So that's all you need to know.
There's no, you guys are crazy. Justin Fields slander is insane.
Me crazy? I didn't say anything.
But
It's just because you're a Justin Fields fanboy. I'm telling you right now, Caleb Williams would do more with that team than Justin Fields would.
I don't think
I'd
so.
much rather see Caleb Williams on the Patriots than the Bears, honestly.
That is the worst thing you've ever said ever. No.
But
You want the
Depending on
Patriots to have another like quarterback that's like
depending,
generational? No, thank you.
that's true. You're right. I didn't even think of that. I take my
Zach,
comment
what do
back.
you think? You think Caleb Williams could do more than Justin Fields, or do you think that I'm being ridiculous?
I don't think you're being ridiculous. It could go 50-50. I also think it depends on the playbook, the play style. Like we've seen Williams in college and we see Justin Fields in college, like versus the NFL is a little bit different just because it's more fast paced and it's more complicated with play calling and all that. I think it just depends on like the play style, the play calling, the playbook,
and his
and his
coach is bad.
coach.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something for you. So, Justin Fields stats against the Bears. I mean, against the Browns. Sorry,
He played himself.
19 of 40 for 166, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Okay, those are his stats.
Did you see the touchdown he threw though? Did you watch that touchdown highlight?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
But okay, but that's that, right? Okay, we'll just go to the game before that the Browns lost, or the Browns beat the Jags by 4. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, he did have 3 picks, but Trevor Lawrence threw 28 for 50 with 257 and 3 touchdowns.
With a better supporting cast around him.
Who would you rather have, Calvin Ridley or DJ Moore?
Calvin Ridley? It's not even a question, Calvin Ridley.
This season, you'd rather have Calvin
Yes.
Ridley or DJ Moore.
I'd rather have Calvin Ridley than DJ Moore any season.
I disagree.
I would have both if I
Evan,
could.
I think
Oh.
that DJ Moore is better than Calvin Ridley for sure.
Mm-mm.
I mean, yeah, he's been suspended for
then
2
I'll just keep
seasons.
going. We'll just keep doing this. My bad.
And Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence also has ETN, who is a top 5 running back in the NFL.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence, we're talking about throwing. Okay. So this is in a season where Cooper Kupp has been shockingly bad. Now, Puka's really good, but he's a rookie. Matthew Stafford in their 36-19 win against the Browns. 22 for 37, 279 yards and 3 touchdowns, 0 picks.
I don't understand the argument being made here right now.
Yeah, wait, I'm not.
I'm saying all these quarterbacks are tearing apart the Browns defense so much better than Justin Fields. And that Elijah just doesn't want to admit that Justin Fields is not the guy.
I wouldn't necessarily consider Trevor Lawrence tearing apart the Browns defense.
He had
that's a far
double the
cry.
yards and 3 touchdowns instead of 1. So I would
Again,
say
with a better supporting cast. But
Yeah, but he's also
again, DJ Moore,
playing,
Calvin Ridley, they're like almost the same player.
if you have a good running game, that opens up the passing game.
Okay, should I see what ETN had? Because I don't know what he had in that game.
ETN did good that game.
No, he didn't. He had 35 rushing yards and a touchdown.
How many receptions?
4 for 36 yards.
Okay, so he still opens up the passing game though.
Mhm.
That's not an argument. He had 36 rushing yards and 36 catching yards, bro.
But 72 total yards weren't an average back.
Roshan Johnson had 36 rushing yards for the Bears and 24 catching yards.
24 catching yards.
Receiving yards.
Okay.
That's like the same as ETN.
Did he have a touchdown?
No, but neither did ETN, I don't think.
You said ETN got a touchdown.
Okay, but it's like the same yards.
A touchdown, 7 points. I thought, or 6 points.
I'm just saying that I think that Caleb Williams would do more with this roster than Justin Fields.
Well,
There's a
that's a
chance.
hypothetical. You can say that for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I just think that Fields should be doing better, and he's not.
Mhm. I agree. But 2 more weeks of the NFL, or sorry, 3 more weeks, excuse me, because I'm counting this week for some reason. But last thing, I guess 2 more things. We'll go over playoffs real quick for clinchings and stuff. But Staley's been fired finally. We kind of talked about this last year as well, that we thought Staley should have been fired. I think this is way before Elijah came on. I think we still had Caleb as well. So, but it's finally time for a new coach in LA. Staley was hired after Anthony Lynn. I think he got fired after Herbert's rookie year, I think. So, yeah, there's that was like a 63-7 game, 63 something. But yeah,
63-21.
yeah. So, all right. And then playoffs right now, the Ravens didn't clinch on Sunday night against after beating Jacksonville. And then that's the only AFC team that has clinched. Niners, Cowboys, and Eagles have clinched. And I just lost a tweet. Okay, there we go. But Dolphins, Chiefs, and the Jaguars are supposed to make the playoffs because they are first in the division. But then the wild card be Browns, Bengals, and Colts right now for the AFC. But in the hunt is Texans, Bills, Steelers, Broncos, Raiders are still somehow, or no, the Raiders are out, I think.
Yeah, the Raiders are out.
Okay, that's what I thought because I don't know why it's showing Week 15 up here. And I think the Chargers are out too, actually. So, and then NFC, we still have the Lions, which they are going to clinch, I think. The Buccaneers as their first in the NFC South, and then Vikings and Rams are still in the hunt. And then we have Seahawks, Saints, Falcons, and then I think the Packers are out. I'm not entirely
Thursday
sure.
night football is a big
Yeah.
game. I'm telling you guys.
Giants are out as well, and the Bears are also
Thursday
out.
night football is a big game because the Saints and the Rams are both 7-7, but the Rams are ahead of the Saints right now in terms of playoff picture,
Mhm.
and so that's a big matchup in terms of playoffs. I mean, if the Saints were to win that, that'd be massive.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
if the Rams were to win it, like it keeps the Saints' chance like going down. So Thursday night game could actually be pretty interesting, even though on paper it may not jump out as like a really interesting game. If you look at the standings and where the two teams are, it'll be really crazy.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to that game originally, but then when I found out that A, the Saints are bad, and B, it's expensive to go to LA, I decided not to go.
Yeah.
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 Makes sense.
Where?
But
Okay, the KC plays. Sorry, talking myself. So the playoff scenarios for Week 16: Baltimore will clinch the AFC North with a win plus Cleveland losing, or if Baltimore ties and Cleveland loses. Cleveland will clinch a berth with a win plus a Cincinnati loss, a Denver loss, a Buffalo loss, Miami win, or an Indianapolis loss or tie. Or there's also Pitt loses or Buff lose, or sorry,
Zach, this is
Pittsburgh.
so much.
Wait,
I
wait, wait.
know
Hold on. All that has to happen, or just one of them has to happen?
one of these has to happen, but I'm not going to go through
Uh,
Cleveland's because there's so many, so many. So I'm not
Just
going to
can
go
you
on a
just tell
rant.
me the teams who could possibly clinch this weekend?
KC, if they win, Miami, if they win, and Buffalo loses. There's more. Okay. And then Detroit can clinch a playoff with the Rams losing, and they also win. And then the Niners can clinch the NFC's #1 seed with a win, plus Philly losing, plus Dallas losing, plus
That's
Detroit
too
losing.
much. You're giving me too much information,
Well,
but
I don't know what else to tell you because there's so many that ties into scenarios, dude.
I know, but I just said just tell me the teams that could clinch this weekend, and then you told me all of the scenarios and when they could. And I was like, you lost
Via
me.
Adam Schefter.
Okay.
Shout out Adam Schefter. But I think that's
Pretty much
it.
most of the teams in the
Pretty
playoff
much
hunt
every team
can
could clinch
Has to
if
win.
10,000 things could happen,
Yeah,
Yeah.
has to win. Plus another team's losing. So
plus 7 other things apparently.
yeah, I mean you should go look at Cleveland's. It's crazy. Sorry, Elijah, but
Well, only one of those things has to happen. That's actually kind of good if only one thing has to happen out of that entire scenario.
We're also talking about clinching this week. Like it's like if that didn't happen
Right.
this week, they still have 2 more weeks that it could happen.
Right.
exactly. So
It's a mess right now.
yeah, it is. The whole playoff thing is a mess. I can't talk, but
I just want the season to be over.
you just want the draft to come now.
I just want the season to be over.
You don't want the Saints in the playoff?
No. You really think we're gonna beat like a Philadelphia or a Dallas or something like that, even if it was a home game? Oh my! Like the only teams I could see us beating at home would be like LA or Minnesota, and even at that, we could just choke so hard. No, I don't want to see the Saints in the playoffs. Unpopular opinion. It's mainly because I would rather, for me, I don't see the benefit in making the playoffs and losing than just missing the playoffs altogether.
Yeah,
Because
plus you're losing
like
draft capital too.
that's the thing is like I don't want to be that guy to say tank, but at the same time, like
Tank.
not even tank, but like if you make the playoffs, you're not going to the Super Bowl.
And you
You
still
don't
keep
have a
Dennis
chance to go to the Super
Allen.
Bowl. And the thing is, if we go to the playoffs, guess what's going to happen? We're keeping our head coach. So that's the worst possible scenario for any Saints fan in the world. So New Orleans, thanks for beating Tommy Cutlets this weekend. It'd be kind of cool if you could win on prime time, but like, can we just not make the playoffs? Be great. There's talks that they could make the wild card. Oh my gosh. Like having to go on the road in the playoffs? Oh yeah.
No.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah, first round, Philly hosting the Saints. Be another Dolphins Broncos game. Oh my gosh.
Saints 49ers.
Saints 49ers, yeah. That would be wonderful. Like 73-1.
But you
Like
guys,
we
what
wouldn't
would
even
you
get
do
a
if you
safety. We'd get
actually
half
beat
a
the
safety.
49ers? What would you do if you pulled a Browns and you actually beat the 49ers?
I mean, we're going to Super Bowl then. Like if you beat the 49ers, you are a Super Bowl team. Because like oh man, like imagine like we beat like some crappy team at home like the Rams first round and then you go to San Fran and you beat them, then wow. If we beat here you go. If we beat the 49ers, if we make the playoffs, first of all, that's not going to happen. But if we make the playoffs and we beat the 49ers, I will buy a Derek Carr jersey. You heard it here first.
Whoa.
I'm putting this on the TikTok.
That's
Wow.
how confident I am that A, we won't even make the playoffs, but there's no way
In
we
fact,
make the
can we
playoffs.
raise the stakes? Can we raise the stakes? I want you to buy a customized um, Allen, your head coach. I want you to buy a
No, because it
customized
has to be
head
Derek
coach.
Carr. Because
Why?
Carr's going to be the one to do it.
It's the head coach. I'm telling you right now. Dennis Allen is.
If we beat the 49ers, I will buy a Derek Carr jersey. That's good enough. An authentic, like not the $360 one, but like the $175 Derek Carr jersey. I will buy it if we beat the 49ers.
I want you to buy a framed $1,000 Derek Carr Saints
No,
game worn.
my bank account would be struggling. So, but there you go. If the Saints make the playoffs and beat the Niners, you will see me in a Derek Carr jersey shortly.
I thought you were gonna get one anyway.
Yeah, before he decided to be awful at football. So I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, well, you were the one, you were like, you should get one. I was like, nah, not till he plays well. And that didn't happen. So
That's watching Derek Carr your whole life as a Raider because you would play the Raiders or the Broncos would play the Raiders twice a year. And we just get absolutely pooped on.
yeah.
Derek Carr's only good against the Broncos, apparently.
Yeah, can we play you guys just every game then?
No, I refuse.
Sean Payton would just like basically like lose an eyeball after yelling at Russell Wilson so hard.
Broncos Saints Super Bowl.
Yes, you heard it here first. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Dude, Dennis Allen versus Sean Payton, Derek Carr versus Russell Wilson. What a Super Bowl matchup that would be.
I wouldn't even watch it.
I don't know if I would watch it. like, oh man, that'd be awful. And it's in Las Vegas too.
Yeah,
like,
so Vegas would have home field advantage anyway.
Wait, what?
Vegas would have home field
advantage.
Wait,
sorry. New Orleans. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Derek Carr still on the Raiders.
Why would New Orleans have a home field advantage in the Super Bowl if
the Broncos?
I meant to say Derek Carr because he played in Vegas.
They hate him.
I know.
And
That's what I
Russell
mean by
Wilson's
home
played there like
advantage.
6 times now or whatever. So Russ is used to that. Oh man. Let's
Guys,
ride.
let's ride. Let's die. I don't know. I think we might move on from Russ this year if he continues to
You
play
guys are not
caca.
moving on from Russ. Stop this nonsense.
All right,
Pinky.
so that is gonna do it this week. It's a good episode when it ends with just pure delusion. Like, imagine people thinking that the Saints could beat the 49ers in any way, shape, or form.
Imagine getting a Denver Broncos and New Orleans Saints Super Bowl.
Yeah. So,
Tommy
anyways,
Cutlet's Super Bowl run? Question mark.
yep. Um,
You know
okay,
what, Zach? You kind of look like him. You
Who?
kind of look like Tommy Cutlets.
bro,
Okay.
Zach is Tommy Cutlets. Fine.
Zach
Have
is
I
Tommy
ever seen
Cutlets.
Zach Robinson and Tommy Cutlets in the same room?
Nope,
Whoa.
never.
Yeah, and I'm the agent, by the way. You haven't seen us in the same room either.
And I'm the dad. I'm the dad.
You're always the dad.
Okay.
All right, so that's gonna do it for this week's episode.
Yeah.
Hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday and a good break from school if you are in school like us. And
Stay in
enjoy
school,
your
kids.
football, enjoy your soccer, because that's gonna be this weekend. So
Most likely, it's going to be Elijah and Thatcher next week. My work schedule is getting packed. So yeah, I will not be probably on next week. So it'll just be Elijah and Thatcher next week. So,
all right. Have
Wait,
a
will we
good
have an
week.
episode next week?
mhm.
Yes,
Because it'll be-
always
It's the last episode of the year.
fire.
Wait, but won't it be like Christmas Day?
No.
Christmas is on Monday.
Christmas is on Monday. You guys record like Wednesday.
Oh, bro, I don't know. Everything's
That's all right.
going crazy.
I'm just out here thinking about our Saints Broncos Super Bowl. So
Same, dude.
Yeah.
Thatcher,
Yeah,
wanna go play Madden?
no, I hate that game. All right, cool. All right, that's gonna do it. Catch you guys later.
Merry Christmas, guys.